So our next guest today is Dr. Andrew MacLean Pagon, and he is he calls himself a multicultural, multidimensional psychiatrist, and he is he's an original Druid. His grandfather was a Druid, Celtic Druid, who initiated him into that that lineage a long time ago, and he's studied extremely learned. He's not only is he a psychiatrist, but he studied Vedanta, and he's lived in China, and currently he lives in Peru. I'm very happy to welcome him, and his talk is called "I Think, Thus I'm Not Awakening." And with that enigmatic title, I'm happy to present Dr. Drew. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah. Well, aho namaskar, tashi delek, all of you good people out there. I think the explanation you have given about me is a bit misleading, as I am senior consultant psychiatrist, but my subspecialty is transcultural and transpersonal psychiatry. And I am as well senior consultant GP, general practitioner, family physician. And I am as well entheogenic or psychedelic psychotherapist, medicinal cannabis physician, medical acupuncturist, hypnotherapist, and medical herbalist. I am based in Peru for the last 16 years, where I'm licensed as a general practitioner and psychiatrist. For the last 35 years, which is 10 years, first I've been working on my own, and then the next 25 years, I've been working with patients across the globe of various ethnicities. So today I would like to present this talk about awakening I had a long time ago. I have been very fortunate, and I would like to wholeheartedly, whole-souled and whole-spirited thank my ancestors, my father, who was a medical doctor and who was cardiologist, and my grandfather, who was a medical doctor, who was a bacteriologist and virologist, and one of the few sexual transmitted specialists at that time. I'm the 7th generation of doctors, and I'm still learning. So today I would like to present this particular thing when I came to understanding, a sort of epiphany took me over. When I realized that this saying, cognito ergo sum, which comes from Descartes, which means I think, therefore I am, I realized, wait a second, there is a flaw there. It is cognito ergo non sum. I think, therefore I don't exist. On extension, that is non dubito ergo non sum, vel quod idem est, cognito ergo non sum. I doubt, therefore I am not. Or what is the same, I think, therefore I am not. Dubito ergo cognito ergo sum. Dubito ergo non cognito ergo non sum. I doubt, therefore I think not. Therefore I am not. The thing is, the essence of the problem is the thinking process. Lots of people have a particular thinking process and they think they exist in a particular way. What they do not understand, it is their thinking process which makes them to exist in a particular way. So the question lies, what sort of thinking process one embodies, what sort of emotions, feelings, and thoughts one is having? Are they the real thoughts? Are they the very essence who one is? Are they the true self who one is? So one comes to understanding that all of our lives, we've been indoctrinating and brainwashing a particular materialistic, descartic point of view, thinking that we know actually what is really happening and what is this life all about, and that we actually know who we really are, and that our thoughts are truly of objective nature. But working with entheogens for so many years on myself and then with others, and that is still ongoing, I came to this understanding: cognito ergo non sum. I think, therefore I don't exist. How can I possibly exist if my thinking process is flawed? Who is existing then? Where is my true nature? Where is this true self, this divine true self? Thus, my awakening happened like that many years ago, and I am trying my very best in my work with myself and my patients to make them understand that they have to observe, investigate their own thinking, especially when they come in the state of dis-ease or disharmony, when they live a life, dissociative life, dysfunctional life, when they are not in true harmony within themselves and others, when they are not in true harmony within, with everything and all. This, at the moment, I am attending a Peruvian patient who is having a terminal stage of prostatic cancer, and I'm working with him and with his family for the last 3 weeks since I got back. I was in North America there. So I'm totally grateful and amazed, and I'm so full of joy that I have this opportunity, this possibility to be able to interact with a patient, where a constant interaction with the patient is creating the healing, is creating the cure. And when my patient said to me yesterday, he said, "Doctor, it is me who is going to cure myself, not you. It is me and my relation and connection with myself and everything and else is going to cure me." And I was so happy to hear that. Thus, he also came to understanding, albeit a bit late, but still on time, that cognito ergo sum is not true. It's cognito ergo non sum. I think, therefore I don't exist. I think, therefore I am not. I doubt, therefore I am not. or what is the same. I think, therefore, I am not. Non dubito ergo non sum, vel quod idem est, cognito ergo non sum. Dubito ergo cognito ergo sum. Dubito ergo non cognito ergo non sum. I doubt, therefore I think not. Therefore I am not. So at the same time, when I understood where this epiphany, awakening took place, a long time ago, in the ceremony with ayahuasca, I came to understanding also where one's intention and attention is at all times, there and only there one is. What one fixes one's intention and attention on exclusively on at all times, that is what one becomes. So thus, one's intention, attention at all times, when it's fixed exclusively on at all times, that is exactly what one becomes, and that is exactly what one is. Thus, going back, what does really one think? What does really one feel? What sort of emotions one has? That is exactly where one is. That is exactly what one becomes. That is the understanding I would like to pass across, if I may. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Drew. Does anybody have a question? I really liked what you said about that, that the way that one thinks, especially when people who are under experiencing some kind of mental unease or disease, that the thinking pattern is so key to their own awakening. But a lot of the time, people who are caught up in a thinking pattern like that are completely unaware that they are caught in that pattern, or that there is any other way, because it's their habitual way. So
exactly.
how do you break through that? How do you break through it without entheogens? Entheogens can certainly break through it, but
well, entheogens should be like the last tools to be used in this journey, is this creation. You know, lots of people do not really see the states of disease or diseases or ailments and something which comes from the very unconscious. They don't see it as such. But working consciously, recognizing that one has a thought, emotion, and feeling pattern, habitual pattern of disharmony, and accepting it, and then integrating it, digesting it, transforming it and transcending it, finally one can come to this state of becoming who one really is. Because when one becomes in a state of dis-ease, is the very state which is showing one that one is not living in harmony with oneself and everything, and also recognizing that one has this issue or this problem or this difficulty is the beginning. Then the acceptance, then the digestion, then transcendence, transformation, and finally resolution of it. So yes, I'm trying to do my very best, to make people in the state of disease to understand that actually their disease is a kind of a shadow, or kind of that part of themselves they don't want to recognize, or that part of themselves which doesn't really serve them well, or that part of themselves they have difficulties with, or that part of themselves they're the loggerheads at all the time. And then recognizing there is something going on right there, and using the right tools to be able to work on it. Because the doctor comes from a Latin word, docere, means to teach. And the doctor is like a teacher, is empowering the one in the state of disease with the tools, so one can work with those tools on oneself and realize, recognize, accept, and do the whole process. I mean, I've been so fortunate in this life, this short, beautiful journey called life, is that I had few patients who were state of a severe disease. I had patients who had schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress or depression, and the rest. And when I was living in South Africa for 2 years, I was treating a South African man of a British descent who was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And in 2 years, I've been working with him. And after 2 years, I reduced his medication, antipsychotics. I discontinued his medication, and he got cured and healed of the condition, because he actively participated in the healing process, because he really truly understood, he truly saw, he truly realized what he needs to recognize, really to understand that he was thinking and feeling in a particular manner. And that very thinking or feeling of particular manner is which caused his state of disease. And he started to change the pattern of thinking and feeling and emotions. And meditation and yoga and martial arts and mindfulness and different disciplines exist there, of course, to help one to come to that understanding, that awakening. But this is where the entheogens, which are not hallucinogens as they are called, are really rekindle that divine spark within, the divine healer within reawakens again. And one for the first time in one's life, for the first time in one's existence, of all generations, for the first time in one's transgenerational existence, because we always forget that all our ancestors, they live with us. All our generations live within us, there in the serpent of wisdom and DNA. And there where that work, what has to do with oneself, one is doing the same with all one's ancestors at the same time. So one can do the work for oneself and for all the ancestors, so one can become free of that heavy suffering and pain, free of that illusion, free of that lack of clarity. of understanding the truth. So there is a saying in Sanskrit, as the man, so the mind. The liberation or bondage is in the mind only. And there is a particular mantra in Sanskrit, which comes from one Upanishads, which is part of Vedas, and says, Om Asatoma Sadgameya, Tamasoma Jyotirgameya, Mrityorma Amartam Gameya. Meaning, Om humming of the universe, show me the difference, what is real and what is unreal, what is darkness and what is light, and what is death and what is the immortality. So mantras are one means of Daiva Chikitsa, or divine methods of reawakening. So during the ceremonies I'm conducting for the last 35 years, I'm using the mantras because I find the mantras much stronger, even the Icaros, in order to awaken this innate divine capacity, innate divine wisdom, which exists in every one of us. It's not any particular wisdom. It's the wisdom which exists within. And I'm very fortunate that I have given this opportunity or possibility to work in this way. Because if I stayed in the Western world, in Britain or Scandinavia, probably, who knows what will happen to me? They will take my license away. But here in Latin America and Peru, where the wild and wonderful things are, I have the opportunity and possibility to do my best, understanding that continuously working on oneself, I'm helping others. And others continuously working with themselves are helping me. We are one. Although this little affair of an ego says, no, we are separate of everything at all. There is no such a thing as a collective. There is no such a thing as transgenerational. There is no such a thing as human and non-human. There is no such a thing as this earth, the beautiful blue ocean planet, Bhumi Devi, as it's called in Sanskrit, is a conscious being. We live inside of a Mother Nature's womb, which is traveling across the infinite universe as a spiral and as a particle. And when it starts at one point, it takes 25,800 years before it comes back to the same point it started, which in Sanskrit is known as Kaya Kalpa, body, mortal. So we have this opportunity, incredible opportunity, to create this sacred reciprocity where we can work together with the indigenous people who are the carriers of the traditional wisdom. And I've been fortunate that about 4 years I lived with different indigenous people in the Amazon. And I'm looking forward to live with them again very soon. And I have this particular project in the Upper Amazon or Peru, where I would like to set up first and uttermost a temple where the Brahmins from India come and create a mandala, a sacred circle or space, a sacred geometry, geomancy, and build this temple where the Rudra Shiva Linga, the Axis Universalis, has been installed, and everything around it is this beautiful apprenticeship program is set up with indigenous people with their traditional knowledge and shamanism are passing on to the younger generations, and there are volunteer scientists and doctors, and there is a pharmacy, and there is a clinic, and there is a lab, because there is so much to learn, and we need to really, truly understand entheogens or psychedelics or their true potential. We need to join, to unite with indigenous people and set up or jointly work for the benefit of everything and all. So I'm fortunate that I am this path. To give you an example, where I was working with indigenous people in the Upper Amazon, I had some Canadian physicians coming over who are cannabis physicians. And they came with me to see these Upper Amazon people in the San Martin province. And they are descendants of Chancas and descendants of Poncas, which are indigenous people who have never been conquered really by the Incas, and they moved into the Amazon. And I stayed with them. There is a family, particular family, who live in this little village, which is called the village of the Curanderos. And this family, indigenous family, where the father, who is actually ayahuasquero, and his father was ayahuasquero, his grandfather was ayahuasquero, and all his 4 sons are ayahuasqueros. And his father was one of the major teachers of Dr. Jacques Mabit, who later created Takiwasi, the institute in the Amazon. And this man developed a very strange disorder, a very strange dermatological disorder, immune dermatological disorder, a rash, a tropical rash of some sorts, with the pastels and everything, only affected the soles of his feet and the palms of his hands. He went to see every single dermatologist, tropical disease specialist. They treated him, all sorts of medications, did all sorts of tests, gave him all sorts of medication, and nothing happened for days, for weeks, for months, for years. And finally, the younger son of all said, well, Father, let's go into the ayahuasca ceremony and ask that which is beyond oneself what to do. So they went into the ayahuasca ceremony, and the voice said, you need to go here across the mountains. I can't tell you what is the plant look like, but looks like this and looks like that. And it is a toxic plant, so you have to detoxify it in this particular way. And then you apply it as a poultice every night at the palms and the soles of the feet for a week. And then your disease will disappear. So the old man did it, and disease disappeared. And I've seen all the photos. Unbelievable, beautiful. So took the Canadian doctors with it, and I said, well, this is what happened. They didn't believe, but they had to accept the clinical reality. And they said to me, oh, well, we need to find what the plant was exactly, which plant it was. We need to, do some studies on it and all that. Maybe we can patent it, whatever. And then the indigenous people said to me, Dr. MacLean, we don't like these Canadian doctors because they're consuming our children. And I said, what do you mean? Well, they just want to take. They don't want to give anything. I said, in return, there is no second reciprocity there. Just take, and do whatever you like. Well, I said, I'm very sorry you have an opinion like that, but I tell you what, if you think that I'm like that, please go into the ayahuasca ceremony and ask if I am the right doctor to work with you. And I went into the ayahuasca ceremony. They said, of course, doctor, we want to work with you. So I'm very honored to have this opportunity and possibility. Thus, I'm looking for the funds so I can do this work. Going back to the same thing, I think so, I am not. So I was thinking how amazing that is that these indigenous people have realized that the answer can always be found. And the answer is in the nature, and the answer is within everyone, each and every one of us. The answer is within. We just need to rediscover it. We just need to put it into motion. And this is where the entheogens help us to put this thing in the motion. They are not going to help us to do the job. I mean, they're not going to do the job for ourselves, but definitely they're going to set the wheel in motion, the wheel of understanding, the wheel of beauty, of rhapsody and rapture, the wheel of living life in harmony, in beauty. So this is where I'm really honored and fortunate that I have this possibility, and that the neither Peruvian Medical Association or Peruvian Psychiatry Association, I'm full member of both of them and full member of Latin American Psychiatry Association, World Psychiatric Association. They're letting me to do my research. So I published recently a paper on Suster, which is the culturally related psychiatric disorder. And it took me years to be able to have the acceptance of the conventional orthodox established psychiatry, to recognize that there is such a thing as a transcultural and transpersonal aspect of one's reality.
Bravo. That is absolutely true. Thank you so much, Dr. Ju, for sharing that that particular point of view, which I think you're probably one of the few people in the world who has the background to have the point of view that you have. You know, with entheogens and psychiatry and multicultural exposure. So really glad to have you here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.